Somebody I know you've looked up to a lot over the years is Jerry Seinfeld. How about the first time meeting him at Gotham Comedy Club in New York and what your wife, Lana, said about him kind of watching your set?
I always wanted to meet him. I just never. I actually waited on him at the Four Seasons, which he actually remembered, which I was stunned.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know he remembered it.
Yeah, I told him I waited on you at the Four Seasons. You sat in the back room and you moved from, again, I remember the table numbers, 115 to 141 outside. And I said I was very informal with you. Because, at the Four Seasons, good evening. I was like, hey man, how's it going? He goes, I do remember that. I do remember that experience. So I was like, wow. I don't know if he was just lying or whatnot, but I meet him at Gotham. He goes up on stage before me, and it's my weekend. I'm headlining the club. He stops in to do a guest set.
Which has to make it even more terrifying.
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Well, actually, I was looking forward to him possibly watching my set, because at that point I was confident enough in my ability to show someone that I looked up to, this is what I'm doing. So he ended up staying for about 45 minutes and really enjoyed it, so much so that he sent his wife and their friends the next night to see me, which I thought I was very flattered. And then I got to talk to him on the phone. He wasn't there the second night, and I didn't get to talk to him that first night. So he's very complimentary of what I was doing, and that's kind of started this little friendship. He invited me on the what did my wife say?
Oh, she said she remembered being there that night and just watching him laugh.
Yeah.
At your set, and just even for her, how big of a deal that was, seeing his reaction to your bits.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I even asked, was he laughing? Did he enjoy it? And how was he laughing? And next thing you know, I'm on his show. I did his show twice.
How about the role he plays in your life now?
He's a tricky guy. He's reminds me of me a lot, in the sense that, and I saw him on your show saying that, he had did a thing about marriage, about why would anybody want to marry a comedian, because we work alone, and we don't really have any. I related to that in the sense that not necessarily in marriage, but just being alone, kind of like a lone wolf, because there's not many comedians. There's not a lot of guys that you could talk to about what this life is, at this level. So he's, for me, has always been kind of a sounding board of hey man, what do you think of this, or how do you do that?
What's an example that comes to mind?
I just find the way he moves fascinating, and I've often told him, you got a fascinating life, just in the sense of went out to dinner once and the bill was never presented. And he goes, it's taken care of. I go, hey, Carol, I didn't even see any. He's like, it's just the credit card's given ahead of time. I don't even bring a credit card. It's just my assistant calls in ahead of time, says, charge it to the thing, and leaves the tip. And I thought that was so cool. What a move. And he's funny. He's a funny guy to talk to about these things. Sometimes you get on the phone. We don't talk a lot on the phone, but when we do, it's pretty special, just because he's just a funny guy to talk to. And then, I was kind of nervous asking him if he would want to be a special guest on my show at the Garden.
Why?
I don't,
Because by this point, you're already close to him.
Yeah, but not this is like a favor. Can you do me a favor? And sometimes I don't like asking people to do favors, just because I don't want to put them out or put them on a spot or whatnot. And I asked him if he wanted to do it, and he's like, absolutely, he'd be honored. I was like, wow. And then he came, and just looking at the response that he got was just worth its weight in gold for me. Just to see him go out, the crowd, this is the first time he even did the Garden, and he had a ball. And he afterwards thanked me. He goes, "You gave me a gift tonight." And I was like, I didn't even look at it that way. I was like, "Who gave me the gift?" So yeah, it's a nice little relationship. There's a guy I watched growing up, and now he's a guest on my show at Madison Square Garden. It's like I couldn't even dream that.
I messaged him asking what he respects about your comedy, and he said the following. Graham, Sebastian's comedy has always had the most essential elements of connection, not just the things he focuses on as subjects. What's so fun about watching him is the connection of facial expression, physical moves, and vocal attitude. When all those are in sync, you're watching something special. He is an in-tune comedy instrument. For me, nothing's more fun to watch.
Another thing fascinating about him, just the way he put that together for you and how he describes it is really, when I hear that, I'm like, wow, he really he gets it. He just gets comedy. He's a guy that is so in tune not only with his own comedy, but the world of comedy, that he's truly a gem.